Erin Skipper with Tune Into Media, and I'm about to talk with Gary and Lisa from Sacred Dog Ranch in Nashville, Tennessee. They are good friends of mine. GRW is an amazing producer. Lisa is just a baller of a person and sustainable farmer, runs the show, the art, everything, so much beautiful shit. All right, let's get to it. Gary Wertz, that song is a bop. Hi.
I'm wearing my reading glasses that Lisa got me. They're really cool.
Nice. I like them.
I should wear these. I don't know.
No, they look good.
They look good? Okay,
They
cool.
look good. You look good.
You will respect my authority.
I'm launching a couple series of interviews on Tune Into Media, and you guys are so intertwined with what I'm doing and thinking about and researching, compiling and editing already, like today and yesterday, because I've been working with footage of Asia and Britt, the psychic mediums that I'm working with. And like I was sitting right where you are, so that's my backdrop in the videos, because I'm talking with Asia and Britt. You know, it was when I was living with you guys for like a month last year. I was in your oasis of your creativity and amazing just energy and life and everything that was going on there. And I was looking for the footage today of me rolling into Sacred Dog for the first time, and you, Lisa, like galloping down the driveway in front of us. Oh wow, so slow down. Okay.
Should I be scared? Like,
Yeah, are you guys here for that like pilgrimage thing?
We're just here.
Oh, cool. Well, welcome to Sacred Dog.
Thank you so much.
I'm Lisa. I'm the owner, and my husband's back there. Why don't you guys get settled?
We
Come
will.
meet me on the porch.
And Daryl and I unknowingly entered another universe when we entered your property.
That's what we hear when people come here.
That about describes it right there.
Yeah.
So cool.
And I tried to like encapsulate it in, you know, projects to convey what you guys are doing. I made a couple videos in your website, but it's like you can't fully understand until you visit Sacred Dog Ranch.
That's true. There's a healing energy here that's very profound with the land, but also with what we've brought to the land and how we've restored and regenerated it. You know, we've kind of fallen into that as our life passion, this regenerative farming thing. You know, we were kind of led to it through being pioneer cannabis farmers in Northern California. And I kind of always was like, I like the idea of growing food and medicine and vegetables as much as I love growing cannabis. And I thought that was a very powerful healing plant. I was already kind of jumping past that garden and wanting more. Right? Like I wanted to see real restoration happening on the planet. And that's where the regenerative thing really kind of sparked my inner passions. Like, oh, this is cool. And now it's like, you know, becoming extremely trendy, which I'm happy about because it's one of the forefront fights to climate change, you know? So like it brought this like awareness to me, kind of a profound messaging of like, oh, you guys are doing important work here. This isn't just like we're living on the land or trying to live off the land. We're like restoring the land. We're healing biodiversity ecosystems. And, you know, there's not a lot of us out there doing that, even though it's becoming more of a thing. But I think getting folks away from, you know, I was just talking to the kid that's living here, just like going into the co-op and they're still selling glyphosate and things that are just poisonous to our environment, and just being so stubborn about like, well, that's just the way it is. Like, what in the hell is that? It's not just the way it is. Our planet's dying. You know, our food source is poisoned, and it's a reflection of how people are today. You know, we're dealing with a lot more diseases and health issues, and it's just, you know, we're products of our toxic environment. So
well, I mean, you know, we're bringing these ideas into like the last place on earth that's going to accept them, you know. So it's kind of like
Nashville, Tennessee, just perspective.
There, and like Lisa is just like, you know, this is how it is, you know, and we're really trying to like reach these people, you know.
We're activists. I'm an
Yeah.
activist. I've always been an activist. I don't sit back and say, well, I'm not paying attention. It's like, no, I'm really paying attention. And Gary is like, you know, gifted with this empathic approach to his writing, and it's becoming more like clear that, you know, he's writing some kind of cool revolutionary songs right now that are, you know, like, I'm hoping we can spread this out so people can hear it and resonate with it and get fired up in a good way.
Yeah, it was just so beautiful because like Gary is you are an empath as a producer. Like I've walked around your land with you just filming, you know, footage of the land, and meanwhile you're just crafting a masterpiece. I'm just like filming you walking around the land, but you're writing and sitting down and just channeling the spirit of the songs that are just flowing through you like nobody's business. And you have an amazing production studio and work and collaborations of artists that you've worked with and traveled to visit and been featured on many big reggae artist collaborations, the Nigerian radio station Ableman, Selecta Ableman.
In Nigeria.
Yes, yes, yes. Greetings, greetings. Welcome to the show. You're live and direct on radio right now. Welcome to the show. GRW, I promise my listener I will link up with you.
Oh, it's so good to be here. I mean, what a crazy world. You're in Nigeria and we're in Tennessee and we're talking and people around the world are listening.
Yeah, what a great, you know.
Yeah, and so that's a whole other thing I want to talk about too. But because when I was there, remember, I was so like excited because I was like, let's go to Nigeria. And I just had this strong pull to be in Nigeria and collaborating with our artists there. And that's kind of what's been happening, although I'm not there. I'm in the same time zone.
Absolutely. Well, I just wanted to quickly say, like, you're talking about how the Sacred Dog Ranch is it's a center of creative energy and healing. And, you know, you see that in my work where it's like, I'm taking that energy and that power and all that work and that, you know, tilling the soil and all that and putting it into and being inspired by and putting it into the music, you know? And so that is, I mean, it's just a direct line right there. And so, and if we can just go out into the world to places like Nigeria and take that out there,
yeah,
then it's all good.
That's the beauty and magic of music, is that sound vibration.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. And it's universal. And the messaging that's coming through, like in that song, and then also some of the Nigerian artists that I'm also going to be featuring on this channel. Like, I'm now listening to these talks and it's like, okay, this was all just
waiting to come together.
Waiting to come together. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I think what you're doing is building a nice platform for folks like us that, you know, have some messaging to put out there, and you're a great catalyst and little conduit that knows how to connect with folks as well. And that's important, right? That's what we're doing. We're just trying to make connections and spread our roots, you know?
Use all this high-tech communication for good, not evil, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like for what it was originally intended to do, you know, and spread our spirits, you know. This is so wonderful.
We definitely have to do just a proper tour of the ranch, and I'll probably throw in some footage because it's, again, hard to convey like your space, the space of what is in it, the land itself, the animals, the energy, the art, the magic, okay, I made your website last year. I was like, people have to know that you exist. People, you know, like the land here for filming music videos, television. And I saw, you know, like I saw TV shows being filmed there when I was there. And I've seen you guys have had just so many amazing like photo and video shoots by incredible artists this past year. It's been so fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been interesting how we've kind of aligned with some, you know, legacy performances for artists that are kind of breaking through right now, you know, like Allison Russell shot 4 videos here, and she's like
in one day,
well, day and a half, but yeah. But you know, just being aligned with artists and you know, to me, like what I see Sacred Dog developing into and we have some folks coming today, is like we're going to start with the farm and garden aspect, but I'm also doing some plotting and planning about how to better plan and develop this place so it's a very interactive space, but we can also host people a little, you know, more contemporary style versus like total glamping. You know, right now we're still in the rustic roots part of it all, but
that part's fun too. I just gotta say, you know, your glamping cabins are adorable. There's land to pitch a tent. It's a good space. You know, people I ran into, coincidentally, people that I'd met at other parties in Nashville on your land, people in, you know, RV and campers, and it's a good, damn good space as it is. and people can book the glamping on your site too. I don't know if you guys still have the camping page up, but
oh yeah, we do.
yeah,
and we've been steady hip camp booking, which has been great. But yeah, like this is a historic homestead, and I don't really know like the actual history of what was happening here, but it seems like it's just like an old pioneers kind of cabin, you know?
The spirit's really good here.
Yeah. The energy's good on this land. It just needs to be, you know, harnessed and shown in a way. Like some of the things that I've been drawing in lately and manifesting is trying to find these natural builders, because I really think it's important to show with action that we are trying to make a smaller ripple with the land, but use what is here to our advantage. And with climate change acting the way it is, I think like having partial underground structures with like greenhouse dome tops and just like cob building, but like kind of taken after the Earthship thing. And I know that's a more arid climate, so that we would have to adjust. So that's why I think cob would be better than like the way they do the
well, it's similar to Iowa, and I have said before, and I still say this, and maybe, you know, maybe there can be some collaboration or connection or introduction through some of these interviews, but the Maharishi International University has a huge sustainability program, and my friend's dad, Mark Stimson, runs that program, and they build tiny homes. And like, you know, Iowa, the climate is not too dissimilar to Tennessee in that, you know, it can be snowy and cold and rainy and wet. And so, yeah, they're doing all kinds of stuff. You know, there's so many programs, and even like Jaffe Judah, who we brought out from, you know, Bang for Liberation and Recycle and Reinvest, you know, like there's programs right in Nashville that are about sustainability and becoming sustainable and self-sufficient. And this is so important for so many reasons, not just the environmental climate, but the political climate. Like who knows what's going to happen any given time. And you guys have, you know, to be self-sufficient with food, water, which, you know, is such, it's like, if you don't have water, you don't have anything.
You don't have life.
Well, we're really fortunate with that, and that was part of the appeal when I found this place, was that it had an old spring that was developed, and also we have a well that we put in. So we have independent water source, which not everybody can say that in their life, you know. When shit hits a fan, you're tapped into like city water, which also tastes terrible.
Yeah,
and it's like, come on.
Why am I drinking a pool?
Why am I drinking a swimming pool? Everything tastes like chlorine.
Yeah. No, literally, I use this jug to fill up my filter, as that's the only option. And it's just like I had the lid off, and I was like,
off gas it.
Am I in a swimming pool right now? Like,
off gas it.
I know.
That's unfortunate.
It's tough, but we're very fortunate to have our spring water here. It's some of the most delicious water I've ever tasted in my whole life. And people tell us you should bottle that stuff and sell it, you know. Yeah, it might be a good idea.
Might be a dog H2O.
Tell folks when they're here to fill up their water bottles, you know.
Absolutely.
The perks, they get eggs, they get water, they get
Amber at Loretta's school thanked you for the eggs.
The eggs. Okay,
yeah, we're getting a lot of eggs right now, which is great. So we're like protein.
It's an existential problem.
It's not an existential crisis. That's a dad.
I'm going to be house sitting next month and chicken sitting, actually, specifically. So I'll have. I was thinking about that last night.
In Portugal?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Can we ask you how life in Portugal has been for you? Just like really quickly, like. just cool?
Yeah,
or-
I mean, it's been amazing and beautiful and hella challenging. And this is one of the other things that came up when I was reviewing this footage of the talk with Asia that I filmed. They're like, you're gonna have the most challenging times, but in the end, it's gonna be worth it. And you know, in my mind, it's just like, it's gonna be great when I get to Portugal. And it's just been challenge after challenge. You know, I haven't worked. My health was, I couldn't walk. I just really also, you know, left my 25-year career, really wanted to focus on my passions and my abilities and what, like, the vision for my life and my future, because life is short and who knows when it's going to be over. None of us are guaranteed it tomorrow. And I know what I want to do. And so being here, it's been amazing because, well, the land, the climate was very appealing to me, the nature, the ocean, of course, but also just the people, the ecstatic dance community, the Afrobeats community, like the dance community here is phenomenal. People are generally amazing. You know, there's assholes everywhere, but generally it's amazing. And I take it day by day because I have no idea, you know, which, like, my life is so, one of the Nigerian artists, Kemina, he's like, so you're not really settled right now. I'm like, oh, honey, I am anything but settled, but I'm enjoying the moment as much as possible.
I mean, that's kind of everybody these days,
Right?
you know? Yeah.
I mean, the world is just bonkers and it's so hard. It's heartbreaking and it's really hard. It's really hard right now. Nothing that's true. Who is settled?
Yeah.
Who is like, life is so uncertain everywhere for many different reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. It breaks our heart to see everything that's going on, but it's like all you can do is do your part and connect with people, you know, and speak your mind and share your soul. And I think that's the way forward, you know. And it's like we just need to do the best that we can where we're at, and hopefully it'll spread out that positive energy, you know.
Exactly.
So that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. And that's why I'm really, you know, I was actually going to launch into just specific music right away. And it was like, whoa, we got to take a breather. We got to pause and recenter and connect with our family because, you know, this is it. Like, connection is so important, and sharing love. And it's not easy because there's nobody that, you know, every aspect of our lives, our philosophy, our belief system align completely. But we can still exist harmoniously, even though we may have totally different lifestyles or belief systems or viewpoints. And it is not always easy. I'm not saying that's easy because it's like I get so offended and angry and I just have to like, but by everyone and everything and everywhere, you know, it's like, okay, it's cool. Like, they're not going to agree with everything I think. They're going to think I'm crazy. I think they're crazy. I hate this about them. They hate this about me. But you know what? Like, we're all in this shit show together and we can at least experience some fun and love and joy. And like, what's the big fucking deal?
Well, and try to find grace, you know, because a lot of that is lost. A lot of that is lost.
Well, we can't all be Buddha and like just, you know, understand everybody that we encounter and you know, listen to their horse shit, you know, that they got sometimes and be like, oh, that's cool, whatever. But we can try to listen and just say our piece, you know, and hopefully, you know, through that calmness, we can, you know, make a bridge. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what Sacred Dog Ranch is all about, with the animals, with the regenerative farming. It's all of a piece, the creative space. It's a safe space for people. It's a safe space to express yourself and the way in an island. It's an island in a sea of insanity is what I call it. So I'm so happy that we're here. And if we have to be in Tennessee, we're here, you know, and not, you know, so thank you. Thank you for bringing our family here. It's great.
I'm so grateful. You know, I just a brief backstory. I was looking, my friend Daryl and I were going to go camping one weekend about a year ago. And I looked on Hip Camp and some different like home camping sites. And I just saw like a green grassy field with a fire pit. and I was actually booked to go somewhere else, but I just kept getting this, audible intuition, sacred ranch. And so I booked it thinking, well, it's kind of nothing though, right? Like,
well, I mean, the picture
okay.
you're describing, it literally looks like where a meteor hit,
Patch of dirt.
it's like a patch of dirt. And so you were going completely by instinct on that.
We undersold it.
Yeah.
Completely. And it's like so exactly the opposite. It's just, I mean, literally just every aspect of it. It just imploded my brain because I was like, what the F?
Yeah.
That was before all the golden Buddhas got here.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's right. I mean, there was still a lot of Buddha and Ganesh and all kinds of statues, but then you just traveled to Bali and brought back a lot of beautiful temple like statues of Buddhas.
A lot of sacredness, which has been interesting here in Tennessee because a lot of the homegrown Tennessee folks that are, not so counterculture that have been around here don't understand what they represent. And that's been interesting too, because I never in my life thought that somebody would be offended by Buddha.
I mean, he's got a nice smile,
What is so aggressive about Buddha?
Well,
Well, having grown up in like a Hindu Vedic sort of tradition and family and household, and not like around Christianity at all, but I see a little bit of the fear about, that's devil, Satan, like anything that is not what is the devil. Anything, it doesn't matter what.
It's I'm gonna just say this about the Buddhas that Lisa brought back from Bali is that they do disturb people around here, but they also lead to conversation with people that would never otherwise talk about concepts like nirvana or reincarnation or all of these things,
or actually the similar story that Buddha has with Jesus, because Jesus did go visit the mystics of India, and he has taken a lot of Buddha's story, in my opinion, and so it whatever, it's just been one of those things where I'm like, okay, well, we got some work to do here.
But but in the best way, they're conversation starters with people that have no experience with stuff like that. I mean, here in the Bible Belt, it's like they're kind of encouraged not to think outside a certain framework, so it's really cool. Like I had a long conversation with our neighbors, she's a farmer sitting on a 4-wheeler and she's like, is Buddha a god? And I said, no, he was a man. And it kind of went from there. It was 20 minutes of that.
Kudos to you for being there in Nashville. And I had such a good time there last year hanging out with Danielle. I was on like an urban farm, and then I was with you guys and met just so many amazing people. I love Nashville, actually.
There is a certain type of mojo fire here that is interesting. There is. But
it attracts a lot of creatives. I mean, the music,
even though there's whatever. It's just, it's a contrived town where commerce comes before creativity, and is what we're seeing. It's like, let me see what I can extract from whatever they're trying to build up. But Nashville, what I've noticed is like where we're at in Tennessee, what is important to me are all these rivers. Like there's a ton of rivers. There's so much water in Tennessee, but it's going away. I mean, we're
not right now. There's a drought. Actually,
yeah.
We brought a little drought with us from California, I guess, but I don't know.
But also, where's the water coming from? Because I was living in Iowa, and you've got like all this farmland and just all this farm again, chemical runoff going into the rivers, going into the Mississippi and the Gulf of Mexico, and it's just like again, why the significance and importance for what you're doing, with your farm.
I feel that. I mean, I hate to like kind of say things like this because it doesn't, to me, never really made sense. But I do feel now that like we have a higher calling. Like there is messaging that needs to be, shared. And also like, Gary's music, his music is like the soundtrack to our lives and what we've experienced. And he's a very gifted, talented creative, you know, and not a lot of people hold all the tools in their tool chest like Gary. He's a DIY to the core, you know. The guy doesn't have a big fancy studio, but it's like vibey, sounds great, and he gets the best sounds out of what he's trying to do, you know. And like there's all kinds of fancy studios here, like working with fancy people, and it's just, you know, I don't know, it kind of falls flat for me.
Nothing against fancy people, and if there are any fancy people out there that want to work with me,
yeah,
you have my number.
Yeah,
so let's do it.
Or record you in their studio, or have you write a song for them.
I haven't really been invited into that world, but that's okay. You know, we're fine.
We've had opportunities to do stuff like that with, you know, over in Memphis at the Royal Studios there, where Al Green.
That wasn't fancy though. That's
well, no, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
and historic, and you know, so that's more of my interest. Like here we are in the Mojo Triangle, which is the heart of country and rock and roll and soul music and all that stuff. So that's really what my new album, Psychic Soul, is really trying to manifest and pull in and stuff, and then mix it with that, you know, my thing. But it's like we're so inspired to be, you know, to be here actually, because
as much as frustration seeps in, we're also daily inspired by what we're doing and what's around us and what's happening, you know.
Absolutely. And it's been an interesting 5 years, we must say. It has been a very interesting 5 years. A lot of heartbreak and a lot of like, what?
Unnecessary pain and suffering.
Yeah, but there's also joy, and like, you know, we've managed to develop and continue to develop the Sacred Dog Ranch into something truly special. And in the meantime, I'm also like releasing and creating music with collaborators and all these sorts of things that is awesome. So we have everything to be proud of.
And outside of the boundaries of just Nashville, like that's the thing.
Yeah, beyond, you know, we're kind of looking throughout the whole world now. You know, it's like
we're global people.
Yeah, we're globalists.
We're small town farm folk with big global hearts.
Yeah, and so we need to
visions.
We're connecting with everyone, and yourself included. So
international here. You're on an international media show today.
Yeah.
Worldwide broadcast.
That's right. Yeah. So Psychic Soul, you said, is the album or EP?
Okay, Psychic Soul is the album that we've been putting together for the past couple of years, and it's still being refined, but the first single is Reckless, which I'm really proud of, and actually recorded that. I wrote that song here on this funky old piano right in the next room, and I recorded it with Brendan Benson from the Raconteurs over at his studio, and he had a guy named Mr. Painter put some amazing horns on there. So it's got that Memphis soul sound, but it's rock and roll. And it's basically, I'm really proud of it because it says to people, and I'm saying like, hey, we've all lived wild lives. We've all lived reckless. We can be reckless sometimes, but you know, that's human nature. And, you know, it's part of growing up, and it's
self-awareness
and becoming more self-aware. And that's why I say, is it such a crime to be reckless? Is it?
Right. Like we all do some shit.
Right.
No one's perfect. No one's fucking perfect. So let's quit fucking acting like judging and shaming and putting everyone else down for doing shit that, you know what? Absolutely. It's fucking okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there are within reason, like you know.
Right. And what's interesting too, as a side note on this, there's some lyrics in there that refer to drinking,
ingesting
I can't tell you, I've gotten in trouble with a couple of people here in Nashville, institutionalists of Nashville, about, I don't know if you should have that lyric in there. Could you sing another song that doesn't have any drug references in it? And I'm like, no, I want to do that. You can't stifle me, man. That's I'm not.
And also alcohol. Like who there is not drinking? Who's not drinking every night and going out to the bar and going to honky tonk and down a bunch?
No. And whiskey
well, the hypocrisy is this: like literally, people that are selling alcohol to like, you know, Wisconsin tourists where I'm playing are telling me not to sing about smoking marijuana, for example. And it's like, that is so
He doesn't.
hypocritical.
But yeah, speaking of though, Marijuana Murder Ballads is your EP or album?
That's an album for sure.
Album, gorgeous album.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Lisa said, you know, because I had a song I'd written and recorded back in Mendocino about, it's called Down by the Greenhouse, that I had made it a few years back, and it was inspired by true events, you know, in that area and what's going on around there. And Lisa was like, you should make a whole record of that. You know, why don't you have and I thought, oh my God, you're right. Like, it grabs you, you know, like, okay, here's a concept album with a theme, and it's an important theme. And so we made the whole thing, you know, and just, it's great. And it's really opened some doors for me, you know, it's been.
And closed some.
I'm trying to think.
People get offended by that. I just had a conversation with somebody out west, and they're like, "Oh, I can't listen to that album of Gary's because it's too triggering." Because that was real life, and what he depicted and story told was like our real experiences around us and to us, and the world, the underbelly world of cannabis is, you know, it can be kind of dark, but like, it also can be extremely rewarding. And that's the thing, is that like learning about that plant and having it guide our lives for so long was very special. And as much of a pain in the butt it was at times, and also seeped in these unsavory bits into our life, I still regard it as a very special, you know, time in our life that we had. And I think it's important to highlight those who built that industry. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's not these corporate people that are all jumping in the game because they got like big backings and stuff. That wasn't the heart of the cannabis revolution. I mean, again, there's a new documentary that everybody should watch. It's called The Need to Grow, and Rosario Dawson narrates it, but it's very interesting. Again, going back to the climate change aspect of regenerative farming and all that, and like how it can heal what's going on here on the planet, like in about 4 or 5 years. And that's what we see it. We've been here 5 years, and we see our land, like how much restoration has occurred in the little bit that we've kind of been able to focus on doing, you know?
Absolutely.
It's so valuable.